Okay. Why you make it so complicated? So I wanted to do this. I was debating if I was going to do this live stream or just do a recording and post it. But actually, like doing the live streams if they will work for me. We are talking about the topic of pro-blackness today. I get a lot of questions on LinkedIn. You know, being a Black conservative, they're like, what does that mean? A lot of people, when I explain it to some of my fellow Blacks, they typically, they can get down with the logic of conservative thinking, right? But yet there's still a lot of Blacks that have a very liberal mindset, right? So, when you're talking about liberal versus conservative, for some of my people who are not socially or politically, in tune, these are really ideologies, how you view things, traditions, right? So when I hear a lot of the conversations going on in the Black community, it's actually kind of refreshing to know that the Black community is a lot more traditional than the mainstream media would like to paint us. And so, first I wanted to go through the pro-Black because a lot of my followers on LinkedIn who are white, they're very quick to say, well, what if I said pro-white? What if I said I'm pro-white? And that is a very legitimate rebuttal and a legitimate argument. But what I usually double back on these people and say that, when it comes to the American experience and narratives that have been continuously perpetuated, towards a single group, Black people have always had an image, a narrative that was, in my opinion, not owned by them and painted for them by somebody else. And therefore, Black people tend to have a narrative that is marred by struggle, pangs, and transgressions. So, when I say that I'm a pro-Black conservative, and you'll hear some mainstream conservatives have a problem with people saying that they are pro-Black conservative. So I wanted to kind of break down what being a pro-Black conservative means to me. And then, hopefully it will give some people a little bit of perspective on not only the diverse Black conservative perspectives, but also a little bit more clarity on what the ideas of pro-Black conservatives are. First of all, pro-Black does not mean that you're anti-white. And if you follow me on LinkedIn, I posted that earlier. Being pro-Black does not mean that you're anti-white. There's a lot of rhetoric going around and even fostered by individuals within the Black community that is very anti-white, very anti-American. And I want people to understand that pro-Black minded individuals in this country are not anti-American, and they're not anti-white or any other group. So I want to make sure that I establish that pro-Black is not anti-white, okay? Pro-Black is not anti-white. Pro-Black is not anti-American. And this is where it's very important for people to understand that the Black community is not a monolithic community. There are a lot of perceptions and discussions going on in the Black community, and you can actually see the diversity of thought. So when I say that I'm a pro-Black conservative, what I'm really saying is that I am a pro-Black elevation conservative. I believe that the Black community, just like any other community, should be elevated within this country and have the same opportunities, all the same, without any barriers and rhetoric holding them back. And so when I look at the conditions of the Black community, I think that, when we look at, some of the continuous problems, a lot of those problems are stemmed by generational and even propaganda rhetoric that is designed to keep Black individuals in a marginalized state of thinking so that they cannot actualize and actually become something in America. So, understanding of pro-Blacks, just a couple of things that I feel like people should know from my experience and my knowledge, right? Pro-Blacks understand that America offers opportunities, right? They understand that there are opportunities in this country, right? Pro-Black individuals understand what it takes to be able to leverage those opportunities. So you'll see a lot of Black individuals, pro-Black individuals. I follow Fly Nubian Queen, the Fly Nubian Queen Network. I follow a number of different diverse perspective Black networks to help me to kind of understand what the discussion is, and also to see what aspects of, the Black discussion resonates with me and my understanding of myself and the community as it exists in America today. Okay. So the pro-Black means pro-Black elevation, meaning that we want to see individuals in the Black community rise and be just as competitive in the capital system in America and even globally as any other group of people in this country and globally, right? Most pro-Blacks that I know are either they're party neutral, meaning that they're neither a Democrat nor a Republican. They are party neutral. And many of them have a more libertarian mindset. So when I say that I'm a conservative, that does not mean that I'm a Republican. I am not a Democrat, nor am I a Republican. If I just had to associate myself with a party, it would be libertarian. I consider myself more libertarian. All right. So many pro-Blacks that I know are not Republicans or Democrats. They have a very libertarian mindset about their American experience in this country. Okay. Pro-Blacks they have a positive outlook in terms of how to understand Black American history. So when I talk to a lot of pro-Black individuals, they do not talk about Black American history through the same scope as mainstream liberal Blacks do. Pro-Blacks, they understand that Blacks in this country have had a history. It has been a history, like I said, that has been marred by struggle, pangs, and transgressions. But pro-Blacks understand that just because that history existed doesn't mean that we're going to allow that history to impact our present possibilities and mindset. So when you think of pro-Blacks, you really kind of think of individuals who do not live their lives through the lens of racism being a continuous inhibitor. And that's really, when you think about it, in tune with the Black conservative mindset. So I want to take a moment to go over Black conservatism and what drew me to Black conservatism. Okay. Last year, I like I said, I was fed up with the Democrats. I just really got tired of looking at repetitive patterns of them leveraging and exploiting the Black community for political gains that did not benefit us. So when I stepped back, I was looking, I ran across this brother who had this symbol. I got to show it to you. It's called the Black Conservative Movement. And I was immediately attracted to this. And I wanted to learn more. And so I started reading sort of the philosophy and the ideology of Black conservatism. You know what I mean? And we say Black conservatism because it is an ideology that Black conservatives typically have and embrace. It may not be a living philosophy within them, but a lot of them live and are governed by these principles. So when you think about the arguments in the Black community, it's very important to understand that there are two different discussions going on in the Black community, and it could be more than that. It's really important to understand that when it comes to political race exploitation that goes on in America, There's the liberal Black viewpoint, and then there's the conservative Black viewpoint. I am a conservative, so my viewpoints, like so many others with my beliefs, are not going to be the same as the status quo. This is where, I want to keep harping on the fact that Black people are not monolithic. Okay? So, let's go to it. For many Black conservatives, the key mission is to bring repair and success to the Black community by applying the following fundamental principles. The pursuit of educational and professional excellence as a means of advancement within society. Supporting policies that promote safety and security in the community beyond the typical casting of criminal as a victim of societal racism. Okay? Not using the lens of race and the country's history of discrimination as a justification for not excelling to the best of your abilities. We support local economic development through free enterprise rather than looking to the federal government for assistance. Empowerment of the individual via self-improvement, virtue, conscious, and supernatural grace, that belief in God, right? And these are principles that were sort of developed from likes of Booker T. Washington, Frederick Douglass. These are philosophies of Black excellence. And these are philosophies that Black conservatives live by, right? And so when you talk about your pro-Black conservatives, this is pretty much their essence. We want to see the Black community excellent in this country. We want to see the Black community elevated. We are not prejudiced. We are not racist. We are not separatists. A lot of people, even though I will say that a lot of pro-Black conservatives quote Malcolm X, and we live sort of by the code of elevating the Black community as a group in this country, we're not separatists at all. I think Malcolm X ideas, and I think a lot of people paint them as separatists, but they weren't. Malcolm X, he was really trying to get the Black community to coalesce and support each other in a meaningful way. Pro-Black individuals want to protect the Black history of Black people. So they typically will sort of be those secondary historians to put out the true facts about Black America. I wish we had more Black historians that were not paid by liberals to discuss the Black narrative. And speaking of Malcolm X, I think if he were alive today, I'm pretty sure he would be a Black conservative, and I'm pretty sure he would be hanging out in the circles of the likes of Thomas Sowell, Shelby Steele, and the late Walter Williams, because these brothers, like I said, they had a very intellectual, objective, and realistic idea of the Black community, the Black experience, and how to progress it. So, pro-Black conservatives call out paid Blacks. So if you are being paid to paint narratives, to create broad strokes images of the Black communities that are not true, pro-Black individuals will call these Black individuals out. And as you see, there's a lot of pro-Black individuals on YouTube right now calling a lot of individuals out on their blatant betrayal to the Black community. So pro-Black, they definitely call out paid Blacks, whether you are a conservative paid Black or a liberal paid Black. If pro-Blacks see you and they see that you're painting the Black narrative in any other way other than truthful and progressive, they will call you out, right? The last thing I want to talk about is interesting because I was listening to this pro-Black woman, and she was talking about immigrant Blacks that come here and how, recently Nicki Minaj, and I'm about to do another video, a live one. I want to do that totally separate, but I wanted to get this out for my network on LinkedIn, and I don't think I cursed in this, so I'm happy. But I just wanted to put this out there, so that, you guys can kind of understand the difference between when we say pro-Black. Pro-Black does not mean anti-white. So hopefully this was informative to a lot of you conservatives, non-Black conservatives who are confused about when people say pro-Black conservatives. These individuals are not racist. They are not anti-white. They're very pro-American. So hopefully that this information, I'm actually wanting to get back into the live stream that I had previously scheduled, but some people in my network was asking me about that. So I wanted to share my viewpoints on what it means to be pro-Black. To recap, not anti-white, understands America has opportunities that can be leveraged by Black individuals. They believe in free enterprise, right? Typically, pro-Black people that I know of, they're party neutral. They are neither Democrat nor Republican. I'm a libertarian at heart with conservative values. They respect and they protect Black history, but they do not use it as a means not to be great. And these individuals are about fostering the elevation of the Black community. They are not separatists, but they do believe in Black excellence. So hopefully that explains some things to some of the people in my network. And hopefully I'm not having any technical difficulties either. So have a good day and catch me on the next stream, which we will be talking about how Michael B. Jordan just epically might have possibly gave men a bad reputation. Bye.